Greetings. This week, today, Sunday, we've got one of my all-time favourite fishing reels in the history of the world. Stradic FJ series, 3000 size this one. Any of the FJ Stradics, kind of classics really. Don't know why they didn't stick with them. Well, I suppose progress is progress, isn't it? But sometimes the old things are the best. A bit like the old 08 Stellas. Probably, yeah, look after them, probably still the best Stella they've made, but that's all, all a matter of opinion, of course. But these FJ Stradics just keep battling on. You put a service and some bearings through them and away they go again. This one's a bit dirty. Probably been down the beach. The anti-reverse switch works, which is good because often they don't. It's probably one of the first places on the reel is these reels that gets corroded up, but that one's still working. And we've got a little bit of movement in the handle, so we've got a loose or worn bearing there, but all the functions are there. She goes round and round, she goes up and down. We'll go inside and see what's what. All up and replace. We'll put them back in. Yeah, this drag hasn't seen a lot of heavy duty cycles. But as you can see, it has seen some beach action. So we'll put that to one side and we'll collect up a few parts for the washer, and I'm kind of tempted to show you the washer, but I could do that. It makes a terrible noise. It's very, very loud, and I know when I'm listening to ultrasonic cleaners on YouTube, it's kind of annoying, the sound, but we can turn the sound down, so we'll see how it flows. Anyway, that can go there. This also, I think, will get an ultrasonic clean because there's a lot of sand up inside there that is not going to come out. So we'll pop that knob off. Put it to one side because we don't want to put that plastic, although it's already started to deteriorate. It's probably the biggest letdown on these reels, and it's the same with a lot of these older style reels. These rubber knobs are not the best, but anyway, we'll clean that one up, and that can go in that pile, and that can go in the wash pile. And that'll get a clean up. Now we'll have a look at this. So for the rotor nut, these are left-hand threads. So how does it go? Righty loosey. It's normally lefty loosey, righty tighty, but in this case, righty loosey. Don't try and do it the other way, because that'll end in tears every time. And that should wriggle off. It's a little tight. It's a lot tight. There we go. Just needed a little bit of encouragement. So that's as dirty as hell in there. So we'll deconstruct that in a minute. Actually, we'll deconstruct that right now. If this whole reel's as dirty as this, and it could be a long video. You might have to make 2 videos. We'll see how we go. Yeah. So what I like to do, just a personal thing, when I take things like these rotors and stuff apart, is take the screws out, take the pieces off, and then just pop the screw back into the hole it came out of, and it can stay in there for the duration of the cleaning process. It just makes reassembly simpler when you know you've got the right screw for the right hole, so to speak. Yeah, it's a bit grubby under there, so and we'll just pop these 2 screws back in their respective sockets. So we're getting there, so these 2 pieces can go over into the pile. Get this bail off. And that's all quite good. It's not got a bunch of corrosion in there, which can happen in these older style reels. So this one, I will just put that washer back on there. Relocate that into its special nut, and that can go into the reassemble pile. This little black plastic bit can come out. And they can go through the cleaner. Just again, use your thumb or whatever spare finger you've got just to cover things when you're pulling them apart, like that spring there. This little bail trip lever in here, just put your thumb over it, just so that when you take them off, because they're under a bit of tension, they don't go flying off into the ether. Okay, so that's good now, so the tension's off that. Fairly good in here. Something you want to keep an eye out for. I'll take that out. I can go through the washer. This little clicker button in here, you'll be a little bit careful that you don't lose that because it's very small. And on this occasion, it doesn't have a spring. The spring's missing from in there. So this little button here, which doesn't hold a lot of function. It just, when you pull your bail arm over, it just makes a reassuring click as it clicks into place. Doesn't hold any tension or anything, but it also needs to have that spring behind it, so we will find another spring for that when we reassemble. And that rotor is fairly dirty, but otherwise intact. This also, now often, I don't know whether this will come up on the video or not, but you can see just in there a little divot, whatever you want to call it, in there. That's where that little click button clicks into place and just sits in there. As I said, it doesn't hold, doesn't take any weight, it's not. No, here we go, what we said we were going to do, we didn't do. So we'll take this screw, put it back in there where it lives. And let's get this line roller apart and see what we find in there. No Loctite on that, which is bad. They need Loctite on them, these things. Okay, so the first part we need to rescue before anything is a little grommet, a little tiny rubber grommet in there. Push it through from this side, and there it is there. We'll just put that over there in the reassemble pile. And that bail arm looks to be complete. Grubby, but complete. You can feel the line roller bearing is gone. There's a fair bit of colouring and stuff off the braid. Most of the cheaper braids do, even the expensive ones do it actually. They just give up some of their colour, and it ends up in places like this. The electric reels are the worst for it. It just flies off the braid and coats the inside of the electric reels. So that's fairly stuck on there, so we'll have to give that a bit of encouragement with a micro adjuster, and I'll be right back. There we go, back from the micro adjusting table. Let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about with the micro adjuster. So this is another situation where you've got a lot of little parts in here that have to go in order. Just a little bit of more encouragement of that to come out. Another spacer. Line roller post. And this part of the bail, that'll get a clean in a ultrasonic clean as well. So what we've got there, I hope you can see that. This camera doesn't focus when I put the, I'll try it. Actually, maybe if I do that, will focus on my hand and then put that under there. Okay, I don't know, it's hard to tell. Is that focusing? Anyway, the bearing inside there is gone, so we'll get that out. There's another little ring on here, just there, which we need to be careful of. Back off to the micro adjusting desk, I'll be right back. BRB. Any clues out there yet as to what the micro adjuster is? Okay. There's the micro adjuster. It's just a tack hammer. And sometimes they just need persuasion. But anyway, there's the last few pieces of the line roller. That plastic insert lives back in there. that ring lives on the other side, on there. And yeah, that's it. Actually, what I'll do, I'll get a bearing out to replace that one, and we'll reassemble that so that it all stays together. There you go, still rolling but noisy. I don't know whether you can hear this. Ready? We'll go to the bearing box and grab a newie and reassemble that for later. Okay, there's the replacement bearing, rubber sealed this time. A little bit of, depends who you talk to about rubber sealed bearings versus shielded bearings. Some people will say the rubber sealed ones are not fully sealed, and they're not, but they are a little bit more resistant than the shielded ones. They do apply a little bit of friction, extra friction, because it's a contact seal. That blue rubber seal you can see there is a contact seal, so it contacts the inner race. But the point of that rubber seal wears down fairly quickly and becomes free, I think. But still maintains that gap. They don't last forever. Bearings are consumable in fishing reels, but that's the way of things. So we'll just reassemble this now just to keep it in its order. So a spacer, the line roller. Actually, I'll put the bearing in the line roller first. If I was doing it on the reel, it would be done differently, but just for now, we'll put that bearing in there. That bearing, the whole assembly on there. And put another spacer. And put a washer. And a screw. Now, if I wasn't doing the ultrasonic clean thing, then I would reassemble this straight back onto the bail, but for now, it's got a new bearing and it's just going to sit over in the reassembly pile until the rest of it's ready. That's the old bearing there, which can go to the customer just for shits and giggles, really. Okay, we'll get into this body because I think this is going to need to go through the parts washer as well. So the first part we'll go for is this rear protector here, which is held on by a screw there and a screw there. You have to be a bit careful with this one up here because very often the little plastic moulding in there that screws into breaks off. In fact, a lot of the times it's already broken off, so we'll just see. We'll do this live and see if it bites me on the arse. Just go carefully. No, that's unscrewing nicely, see? That's good. So that screw can come out and go over there. I won't put that back into its hole because it's not practical. This one here is just a very short little screw, but quite distinctive. It can go with its buddy over there. And at this point, that should just come straight off with a little bit of wriggle. There we go. And that's all intact, so that's good. That can go in the parts washer. A bit of a look there. Dirty, grubby. There's a screw missing from there, which I don't think was in there. No, so that's just been missing for some time, clearly. So we will find a replacement for that when reassembly comes along. We'll get this friction ring off. Yep, that can go through the washer. Off with the anti-reverse clutch, which won't go through the washer. We'll give that a manual clean. And it's not too bad anyway, but we'll give that a clean. There's the inner tube for it, which also looks okay. No corrosion on it, so it's not had a lot of water in there. Yeah, with the pinion, let's have a look at this pinion top bearing. The pinion is okay, but again, that can go through the washer. This bearing is good. So that'll get a clean and a lube and a reuse. Just talk amongst yourselves for a sec while I clean my hands. Okay, so let's get in and look at that. If I don't clean that off, my family will say, look at the bit of grease all over your hands. You know what I'm saying. So we'll pop these 3 remaining body screws out. And this body half should just reel off fairly easily, and it does. Not horrible. Parts washer for that one. Let's see what we've got in here. So there's the main gear there, and that's actually got a bit of sand on it, which is kind of unusual in that you usually don't get sand inside your reel, but there you go. There it is. So that's one of the drive gear bearings. This is the other one here, which we will. Alright, we're going to have to encourage that off. Got to get these shims off because you do not want to lose these or bend them. There's a lot of old grease under there, which is sort of fairly well built up. So I'll just have to take this to the micro adjusting bench. Actually feels alright, that bearing, so if it comes off fairly easy we might be able to reuse that, but anyway. So that came off with fairly minimal effort really. It's just what happens with these is that little silver bit there is a cap. Can you see that? That's a cap there that fits over the end of that drive gear shaft, and the bearing sits on that cap. and this end here, which is where the handle screws in and contacts that, the pressure from the handle on that all the time just burrs that end over, just ever so slightly, not much. And that's what makes it difficult to get these bearings off. But we will, before we put it back on, we will just take that burr off and it should be good. Those bearings were both reusable, so that's good. And we'll put those shims over there. Actually, there's only one shim, which is surprising. Normally there's 2 or 3 varying size ones in there, but one it is. And dry gear into the pot. Now this is a bit of a problem area. Well, not a problem area, but this is sort of where it gets a little bit tricky with small parts. So here's the bale trip ramp, which is pretty good. I'll give that a manual clean. That's fairly good because often there's corrosion on this little aluminium part here, but there's none on this one, so it's good. We'll just see if we can, wonder if we can pop that bearing out. There it goes. That's the lower pinion bearing in there, which should just slide out, and we'll give that a spin. And no noise on that one, but I think we'll replace it because that's a fairly hard working bearing for such a small bearing, and given that we've got it apart, we won't want to reuse that one. Okay, so we're going to have to go in here now because, as you can probably see, this is pretty grotty and needs to go through the cleaner. But we don't want to put all this mechanism in the cleaner, so we'll take that out, pop that off. So the first thing that needs to come out are these 2 little guide bars down here, which come out fairly easily, and they are pretty grubby, so they can go in the cleaner. And there's another one the same under there, which pops out that way, comes out the back, and now the main shaft will come out quite easily. Now that's fairly greasy but doesn't look corroded, so that's good. I won't put that through the cleaner because it would not benefit from it. So the worm shaft will come out next. This little plastic bit here just slides out. Now the worm shaft should slide out the back. There's another little plastic bit. And the worm shaft should come out. Seem to be any damage in the worm part of it, which is where they, if they're going to go, that's where it'll be, in that groove there. But this seems to have been fairly well lubricated and not a lot of water, so that'll be quite good. Next bit out will be the anti-reverse switching mechanism. Little spring in there. Again with the thumb over the top, grab your spring and lift it out, and there we go, thumb saved it, spring out, no drama. Next will be this very small screw. A little bit of salt build up on the back of this. That should be okay though. Let me see if it'll just slide out, or is it going to need some... Okay, so there she came. Just needed a little bit of encouragement, like most things. And that's the shaft there. It's not too bad. It's a little bit corroded, but we'll clean that up with a wire wheel before that goes back in. And it should be good. This little switch is in non-broken condition, which is good. So the next thing we're going to go after is a little flap just there. You just need to notice which way that goes in. And that effectively holds this gear from falling out. That can go through the cleaning pile as well. As can that body half. There's just another little screw there which I will do the relocating thing so we don't lose it. Tiny, tiny, tiny. Just leave it in there for safekeeping. And that's disassembly done. I'll do some cleanups and we'll get back to it. Well, there we are, all back from the parts washing and ready for reassembly. If we can put the jigsaw puzzle back together. It's probably the only drawback with these little Stradics is they're lots of parts, not complicated, but lots of parts. Anyway, we'll end the video off there and make the reassembly another one. Cheers.